There's
everyone.
only one true blessing in the world.
Let's
that's
talk
life.
about Mr. Brian
What you
Calley.
do with is on you.
Mr. Brian Calley left a comment for
What
a
you do with
TikTok
your
by the
life
name
is
of
on you.
Positively
God, life
Tracy.
is a business.
After she
God
made a
give you the
video
business.
talking
But
about
he
the
ain't going to manage it
celebration
for you.
of
That's on you.
and why
That's
we had
on
that
you.
celebration.
Just take care of yourself. Be good to
talking about
others.
reparations.
You'll be all right.
You see, because Mr. Calley seems to think that people who look like me don't deserve reparations because we just want free stuff. And that none of us were slaves, nor do we know any. And so let's get into it.
And now is not enslaved. We had a chance to do that, and we blew it back in the 1880s and 90s. So 40 acres and a mule, for some it was more, for some it was less. 40 acres and a mule is what was promised to those working on plantations. That never happened. Then sharecropping. Then all the Jim Crow.
People who think like Brian Calley really get under my skin, because at the end of the day, the thing is, we're not just owed reparations because of slavery. What about Jim Crow? What about all of the lynchings? What about the race riots? What about Tulsa, Oklahoma's bombing? What about the 1985 bombing of Operation Move? What about all of the other things, okay? What about the epidemic that was purposely put in our neighborhoods during the 80s with the illegal substance, okay, that President Biden's son has even taken in his lifetime, but he's never served a day in jail for it? Okay, let's talk about it. At the end of the day, there's a whole lot of things other than slavery, but that's the only one, sadly, that people who think like him seem to bring up. And I find it interesting because also they never complain about other people who've gotten reparations from this country just simply wanting free stuff. It's always the people who look like me that we always just want something for free, when in fact, his people have gotten plenty of free things. The owners of the plantations who owned slaves were given reparations after slavery ended for the loss of their property. Many of the soldiers were given houses through the GI Bill, but soldiers who were my skin tone who fought for this country as well were not given those houses. Okay, houses can help you to start building and establishing generational wealth. So with that all being said, I find it very interesting that Mr. Brian Calley has so much to say. Why is it that people who think like him, I'm not saying people who look like him necessarily, because there are a myriad of people who look like him who don't think the way that he does. Positively Tracy is one. But for him to sit there and say we just want free stuff when his people have been in fact given free stuff, even for heinous atrocities that were perpetuated, paid for doing so, how do you get paid for owning other humans after those people were taken out of your possession? Please make that make sense. Okay, at the end of the day, it seems like everyone in this country who's had anything bad happen to them can get reparations, besides the people who look like me. And people like Brian Calley have so much to say against it, talking about, oh, their tax dollars shouldn't have to pay for it. Why does it have to come out of their tax dollars? Did they complain when other people got it? And some of these people, mind you, never even had atrocities that were even perpetuated on this soil. But I don't hear him saying those people want things for free. Please pay attention. And another thing is the fact that this United States government even ever promised to give us 40 acres and a mule. You know what that says to me? And of course they reneged on that deal. But what that says to me is that they absolutely acknowledged and admitted that they owe us reparations for the atrocities perpetuated upon our people. They just don't want to pay up. That's what that says. They've already admitted that we're owed reparations when they made the promise that they reneged on. Please pay attention.